How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the Faulks Tech YouTube channel. So this is kind of an unplanned video, but it's something really cool that I just wanted to share with you guys and talk about my tablet, how I have it set up, and why I consider it the world's most dangerous Surface Pro tablet. When I say dangerous, I don't mean physical harm, I mean virtual harm. And I'm not going to throw this tablet at anyone to injure anyone, don't worry about that. Nor am I going to do anything malicious, even though this is kind of ties in with the video. So let's jump into the hardware components real quick. I got a wireless keyboard. I have the Surface Pro tablet. The pen we're not using in this video, but I've got it here. I have this really nice, let me turn this around, sorry about the grinding noise there. I have this really nice USB hub here, plugged in. I have my Bluetooth adapter, as well as a Panda wireless adapter as well. The Panda wireless adapter, the reason why that is important, I just turned it on, you'll see it dual boot. And from here, guys, I can choose between which OS. I know you can't really see that, but I have Kali Linux and I have Windows Boot Manager. So I can boot in either Windows or Kali Linux. So we're going to jump into Kali Linux real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and explain what the Panda wireless is now that we're waiting. So Panda wireless is a wireless adapter that allows packet injection. This is a really good tool to use when you're doing any type of testing in the environment. And this is what this guy would be. Some people could use this as a hacking device, hacking tool. I'll be using it as a penetration test device. I can also do a lot more things with this, but I am not going to be doing anything malicious, like I said a moment ago. I want to make sure that is clear in the video. Let me type this password in. Alright, so password's in. For this to be running Kali Linux, it's very responsive, very quick. I can do tons of things here. I can do information gathering, password cracking, wireless cracking, reverse engineering, I can build payloads with exploitations. So I can do Wi-Fi sniffers. I mean, if you are familiar with Kali Linux and you're familiar with these tools, social engineering toolkits and hacking there. So Kali Linux, for those who don't know, this is a Linux-based operating system with security tools basically compiled already on this distribution here. So all I did was boot this guy up. I installed it. I had to do it a certain way, in a special way, to get it work on my Surface tablet, and I'll go over that real quick. So for those who are trying to do this, let me explain the steps. It is quite in-depth, and it took a little bit of finagling to get it to work on the Surface tablet. So basically I had to boot to the live Linux here, to Kali Linux, and then I had to open up gparted. I had to shrink the disk partition of my Windows drive, and then I can proceed with installing that onto that partition that is available space that is not my Windows drive. And after I did that, I didn't really have to do much for bootloaders. It automatically put the Kali Linux bootloader on there. So now when I boot it up, it brings up the Kali Linux and the Windows operating system. I can choose between the two. There are some downsides to doing this. For example, one downside is this is not touchscreen, so I have to use a keyboard with it. So, but honestly, if I'm doing any type of pen testing or anything like that, or doing any type of white hat hacking or white hat services, I'm going to be using a keyboard. I'm not going to be using a touchscreen for that. Another downside is when you boot up the Surface Pro tablet, you do lose the functionality of the touchscreen unless you go into Windows. And also, when you go into the Kali boot window, where you have those listed there I showed you a moment ago, that is not touchscreen. So anytime I power this guy on, I will have to have my keyboard hooked up in order to go into the Windows operating system. So I'll show you what that looks like now. So I'm going to go ahead and power this guy down. Let's shut her down here. Alright, let's power this guy back on. I'm going to have to take the down arrow key here to make sure it doesn't automatically boot. So I'm moving my arrow keys up. And as I mentioned before, this is not touchscreen, so I have to actually go into Windows, enter. So this is a very good distro of Linux. If you're doing any type of hacking or if you're doing any type of reconnaissance, then I would recommend getting this operating system. And of course, Windows, working on updates. Fantastic. So this may take a minute. Alright, we are in. This guy is looking for my face. Let me show up my face. And here we are. We are now in the desktop, and it is, as you can see, touchscreen. Nothing is impacted on the Windows side. I can do anything I want with this guy. It's as if nothing happened. And another aspect of why I consider this the most dangerous. So let's say I wasn't fully white hat. If I were to walk into a store, and I would have, let's say a coffee shop, and I were to bring this tablet here, when people look at me, they're thinking, oh, that guy's got, he's a Microsoft fanboy, he possibly is using that for work, and they are sadly mistaken. I can easily boot into my Kali Linux and I look the part out of a hardworking person that's there using the Wi-Fi. But in reality, I could be there to do serious harm or something like that. Of course, I wouldn't do that. But that's why when it comes to technology, even though someone looks a part, doesn't always mean they're there for that part. And this is the perfect example of that. But guys, that's all I wanted to talk about, and why I feel this tablet is the most dangerous Surface Pro tablet in the world. I haven't seen any other person do this, at least on YouTube. Now the newer tablets, when they did do it, it just wouldn't run well with Kali Linux. The Surface Pro 5 handles it like a champ. I can do packet injection, I can do testing, I can do cracking, I can build payloads, I can do everything with this guy that a normal Linux machine could do. And that's what makes it so dangerous. Also, guys, for those who would say, why not just put it on a virtual machine and host it on here? So that is a great question, guys, and that is something that I did try. The first step I did was I tried Hyper-V. I can easily pull it up on my Surface tablet, I let it run. I tried VirtualBox, and no matter what I tried, it just wouldn't handle Kali responses very well, or Kali requests very well. I couldn't get around the UI in a nice and orderly fashion. So then I said there has to be a way I can do this, and I hacked something together. This is probably the first Surface Pro 5 that's dual booted with Kali Linux and also Windows 10 in the world. I haven't seen it anywhere. I may be wrong. You may have done it at home, and you may be like, hey, I done it first before you. But this is a really awesome combination. I'm really excited about how this guy turned out. I know this is kind of off the wall video, but I wanted to share my thought here, and I wanted to show you what I've been doing a little bit on my off time. If you hear something running in the background, by the way, that is my 3D printer. I have it hard working on a print. So the thing I want you to get out of this video is when someone comes in looking the part, they may not be the part. They may be there maliciously, so just keep your eye out and watch out for those that kind of blend in too well. And that's it. That's all I want to say, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.